Story 1. Am I the a-hole for how I responded to my mom when she said I wasn't invited to her wedding? I, 15 female, am my mother's 35 female, only daughter she has from her previous marriage. She has 3 children, the rest being boys, 18 and 16, and this is important to know. Last week, my mom was talking with one of her friends about the color she wanted for the bridesmaid dresses to be. My mom had been planning this wedding with her new boyfriend for the past 2 months or so. They have been engaged for about 1 year. The wedding is in December, and on the day before my wedding, me and my mom have been planning a party for me around the same time she was for the wedding. She insisted that it was all right and that her boyfriend and her would go on their honeymoon the next day. While she was talking, I had asked her when we were going to look for my dress since she had asked me to be the flower girl. I could see the disappointed look on her face when I asked her, which confused me. She responded only a few minutes later and said, "We'll talk about it later." A few hours later, my mom came to me. I thought she was going to talk about the dress situation, but instead she sat me down and explained how her new boyfriend thought it'd be a better fit for their 3 daughters to lead the wedding. Whatever, I was cool with that, but it's important to note that my mom had always wanted all girls. I was a girl, but I had looked too much like my father, which caused a strain in our relationship. My dad explained to me how my mother had postpartum when she had me and just couldn't connect with me because of it. So when she gave birth to my 3 younger step-siblings, who all look like her, triplet 6-year-olds, she was obviously overjoyed. It hurt to see, but I was happy for her. My brothers had a similar experience, but were significantly better because they looked more like her. I know this is an overdramatic thing to say, but sometimes I feel like because my mother didn't feel as connected with me at birth was because I was a letdown right out of the gate. After she was done, I asked her again about the dress because I still didn't have one. Again, that same disappointed look on her face came before telling me I wasn't invited to the wedding. Simply because her boyfriend thought I would upset his family because I was from my mom's previous marriage and he didn't like my dad. She also explained how my birthday isn't happening either due to him wanting to go on their honeymoon right away. It turned into a screaming match with me yelling, "I'm sorry I don't look like you enough for you to love me. I'm sorry you were too conceited for you to get over the fact I look like my dad." I was kicked out by her boyfriend within the same hour because she had cried to him about what I said. All my brothers know what happened and have now refused to go to the wedding, which upset her even more, though I don't care about how she feels right now. My brothers had an actual relationship with her, and I probably just messed it up by letting my anger get the best of me. Am I the a-hole? Not really. She's pushing you out. Not only is she pushing you out of the wedding, she is completely disregarding your birthday. I mean, we're talking total Disney stepmother stuff, except this is your actual mother. She still has some resentment over this, and thank you for the boys for supporting this woman. Maybe letting the emotions get the best of you and screaming at her just that one sentence may have been a little over the top, but you're frustrated. You're getting ignored and just disregarded. And she's just pushing her wedding over your birthday and all this? No, I don't think you're the a-hole at all. What do you think? Story 2. Boss tells me I'm not a manager, so I stopped doing her job. For background, I work in mental health and substance use services. I have worked at my job for a long time now. My boss is never available for help and hardly on site. Recently, she's got a new manager who is not impressed with her work ethic. But then a lockdown happened and he had to shield. She has gone straight back to her old ways. Boss will often ask me to do her work for her to save her coming in, which I've never minded doing up until recently. I had a meeting with my boss after an incident at work where someone tried to assault me. I told my boss I didn't feel supported by her after it had happened, as she wasn't present and didn't manage it well afterwards. In the middle of the meeting, the boss says, "Perhaps you want to consider some easier work in a different department?" Me: "What? Why?" Boss: "Well, you do take on a lot of extra work that you don't need. A lot of this work is manager's job. Maybe you need to learn to say no to taking on all this work." I asked if there was something wrong with my standard of work, if she had concerns, etc., and she said no. 3 months down the line, 4 of the team leave and they get new people in. Boss: "Oh, can you induct new starters on their first day?" Me: "Sorry, boss, that's a manager's job." Boss: "Can you complete the fire risk assessment?" Me: "Sorry, boss, that's a manager's job." After a while, she stops asking me things. Then one day she's working from home. I'm pretty sure she's been telling her manager she's on site throughout the lockdown, but mostly it isn't huge incident that kicks off with residents. That was worded weirdly. Emergency services are called, etc. Sounds like there was a huge incident that happened and people were called in. I called my boss and explained to her what happened. Boss: "Oh, can you please follow up with commissioning body, staff, and residents involved and write the report and send it all directly to me, please?" Me: "Sorry, boss, you will need to come in and manage this. I'm not a manager. That's not my job." Boss: "Just this once, please." I refused to manage the incident. It turned out she was visiting a friend who lived at the coast whilst she was meant to be on site. Someone accidentally let slip to her manager when he called in the incident, and there was no one to manage. He asked me to deal with the incident. I explained I couldn't and that my boss had reported me as taking on too much work, and a full investigation has been launched into her conduct and ability to do her job. Manager now talks to me directly and supervises me. He is helping me apply for a promotion. Boss is on leave, pending investigation. Nothing wrong with working remotely, but if you have to come into work, you better be ready to come into work. And this person tried to take advantage of it and tried to take advantage of someone who was willing up until that point to do the work for them. Just hustle mentality, trying to get as much as you can for little work.
Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 3. She would rather risk unaliving her child than be wrong. When I was younger, my father had a massive heart attack. The results being that we had to change the family diet to something more heart-healthy. Lots of people go to seafood for heart-healthy diets because of all the healthy oils and fats, so shellfish and fish were a large part of the household. One night, after we had shrimp pasta, I started getting this weird feeling all over my body. I felt like my whole body was on fire and like my nose was stuffed, so I had to take deep breaths through my mouth. I looked at my arms, and giant red splotches start appearing all over me. At this point, I call my mother over and exclaim that I must be allergic to shrimp. She looks at me and replies, "It doesn't look bad. Just go to sleep." The entire night I tossed and turned, unable to catch my breath or get away from the relentless heat oozing off my skin. I decided that day I would never have shrimp again. The next couple times my mother made a meal with shrimp, I would politely decline and make food for myself. Even though I made my own food from scratch, I was still feeling strange after the meal. I was starting to get to the point I would be gasping for air, barely able to swallow and wheezing. I assumed that being in the same room when they cook shrimp might be enough to make me feel sick. I mentioned this to my mother and got an irritated sigh and eye roll. You are not allergic to shrimp. So the next time dinner with shrimp rolls around, I just don't say anything. The symptoms came on as usual, but I just kept it to myself. Apparently, the lack of mentioning how bad I felt was interpreted as me admitting I was fine. My mother walks over, all proud of herself, and sits down next to me. See? I've been rubbing shrimp on your utensils before you eat for a while, and you're perfectly fine. Needless to say, I eventually went full anaphylaxis. Unfortunately, from something other than shrimp while I was student teaching, and had to go see an allergist. After my allergy panel, the doctor declared a very long list of foods, plants, and molds I was allergic to. Guess what was on the deathly allergic list? Shrimp. My mom's reaction when I pointed it out? She shrugged and said, "Oops. This was about a decade ago, and I still can't eat the food she has prepared. She just tested me again with onions this time just last year. She tells me there are no spices on things and then remembers when my throat starts closing up and I have to devour Benadryl. The worst part, my father knows and doesn't warn me. So that's my story of my mother preferring being correct over me being alive. I actually have a ton more of these. If anyone finds my random childhood stories interesting, I might post more. Thanks for reading. Throat closes up? Going to perish? Oops is all she says, and then she still keeps making food from the allergy list? And what about, the father has the father kind of has his own thing to worry about. He had a heart attack. I don't know if it's from caring or if he has his own thing to worry about. I think you just need to, I don't know how old this person is. They need to just, it's a decade later. I just think you need to stop eating over there if you're not living with them. Either that or you just need to buy your own refrigerator and have your own food from now on. Story 4. School nurse refuses treatment over dislike of essential oils. I felt nauseous after being sick for a few weeks, so I went to the nurse's office. There was only one nurse there, and I was the only student there. I explained my situation and requested that due to my asthma, she turn off her essential oil diffuser. She refused. 2 more students came in, and they explained what problem they had. Both of them said that the essential oils were making it hard to breathe, and she denied that this was even possible. I believe that one of them had asthma. I was having a large amount of difficulty breathing, so I told her that this was a health and safety issue. She got angry and asked me to leave the room. She had not yet attempted to diagnose me. Is there any way I can report her? This is a charter school, meaning that while it's a public school, it's not part of a district. I think you have to take a look at the charter and figure out what that is, if they're reported to anybody. It sounds like you're probably going to have to go through a few hoops on this, and if there are any other instances other than this, or is this just a one-time off thing? But I guess it's something to keep out for. Unfortunately, I just say, hope you don't get sick the next few days. I'm sorry. Story 5. My entitled mother tried to make me infertile. I'm so shocked about this, I don't even know how to react. When I was a young kid, I was intimately assaulted, and I was pregnant as a result. In my parents' opinion, it was all my fault. I chose to have an abortion. The doctors told my mother that there was a high risk of infection, so she had to give me some antibiotics beforehand. Long story short, she faked it with the doctors, but never gave me the antibiotics. I had an anaphylaxis after the surgery, and the following days I've been very sick. Now, after almost 10 years, I've learned that antibiotics were meant to help me to not lose my fertility. My mother actively avoided taking medical care of me following the doctor's instructions. She's a narcissist and has always pushed me to unalive myself, but this is just another level of crazy. I feel so bad, so betrayed, so I don't know. I simply feel like crying right now. Oh, how old are you? Can you get out of there? You need to start. I don't know your situation. I hope that you can find your own place and just go no contact. They're blaming you for this assault? I don't know if them, or if it's just the mother, that's just awful. Is there anyone trusted that you can turn to about this? Can you talk to the doctors again and talk to them about how you were never given the medicine? And can you get them as witnesses in some case? I mean, fortunately, it's time to find somewhere else to live. If you can, I hope that you have the freedom to do that. Story 6. Entitled mother demands my toddler give up his toys because her husband might be a higher rank than mine. It's snowing where I live, a lot more than what we're used to getting. We live in a military town. The schools and most other businesses follow the base's lead when it comes to weather-related closures. The base is essential personnel only right now, so I got the day off. I live across the street from the base housing. My husband and I decided to buy our own house instead of living there, but we're still close enough to utilize the parks. Now to the story. The base housing has a little park every block or less. Honestly, a ridiculous amount of parks. We normally just go to one closest to our house. But since it's been snowing, we decided to go one further away because it had better hills. My oldest, 4, was bundled up tight and using his sled down the hill, then hiking back up. At one point in time, he got distracted and left the sled, at which point another child jumped on it and was playing with it. That's fine. My son decided he wanted to hike back up and went to get his sled. Now, it's important to know I'm wearing my youngest, 3-month-old, and because of that, it's unsafe for me to go down the hill in case I fall. I couldn't hear what my oldest was saying to the other child, but eventually he got his sled back and was dragging it up the hill. Enter entitled mother. My son is up the hill now and walking towards me to push him down when he is stopped by entitled mother. Entitled mother reaches for the sled and my son very audibly says, "No, I used my words." We're teaching him to use his words instead of hitting when he's frustrated. Entitled mother reaches for the sled again as I'm walking up. Me. "Excuse me, can I help you?" Entitled mother. "Is this your child?" Me. "Yes, he is." Again. "Can I help you?" Entitled mother. "Your child stole this from mine. I watched him." Me. "That is his sled. I bought it in Popular Town last Christmas. Your child was playing with it for a while, then mine wanted it back." Entitled mother. "No, my child was playing with the sled, and yours took it." Me. "I watched everything that happened. Yes, your child was playing with my son's sled. Then my son used his words and took it back." Entitled mother. "I've never seen you before. Are you even supposed to be here? You know this park is restricted, right? This is military only." Me. "I'm well within my rights to utilize this park." I grab my son with the sled and go to walk away. But that would be too easy, right? Entitled mother grabs the sled from my son's hand and turns around. Me. "Excuse me, shrew. Do not take things from my child. Who do you think you are?" Entitled mother. "What did you just say to me?" Me. "Give him the sled back. I'm not playing right now." Entitled mother. "Do you even know who I am? My husband is insert rank. You can't speak to me that way." Me. "Congratulations. Your husband's rank has absolutely nothing to do with you stealing from my child." I yanked the sled back, picked up my toddler. Keep in mind, I'm still wearing my youngest, and went to walk away. Entitled mother grabbed for the sled again, causing me to lose my footing. Thank the deities I didn't fall, because I probably would have had her head. Me. Look, you fracking... Can't say that word. It references anatomy. Your husband has nothing to do with my husband's career, but your actions have everything to do with his. Keep this up and I will get the MPs involved. Touch me, either of my children, or the sled again, and I will put it up your butt. I'm not playing this game anymore. What you just did put both my children in danger. Walk the frack away. Entitled mother, you're threatening me and cussing in front of my child? Who do you think you are? I will report this. I've never even seen you here before. You don't belong here. Me, you've never seen me because I work for a living. Oh, I don't give a care about what your kid hears. I'm walking away. Touch me again, and I will not hesitate to hurt you. EM was yelling more as I walked away, then proceeded to glare at us until my son got cold and we went to walk back. I've heard of these types of people, but I can't believe I've encountered one in the wild. I've dealt with my fair share of entitled parents, but trying to steal from a 4-year-old? Endangering a 3-month-old? That's a new low for me. There's so much wrong. 1. Another woman who believes the husband's rank is her rank. No, it's not. Don't assume that. That's awful. That is just completely awful. And I can't believe that exists, that people are just, oh, you need to salute me and respect me. No, I don't. It's your actions that affect your husband, not the rank affecting you. No. And 2, not only is could this woman get in trouble for assaulting a mom, for endangering a child. She saw that the 3-month-old was there. Also, you're dealing with mama bear instincts. You're gonna catch something. You're gonna catch something from this woman. You're gonna catch some hands, or you're gonna catch a sled up your butt. Basically, this woman just thinks she's the main character of life and has plot armor. She's sadly mistaken.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.